So, what if I told you there was a man who walked like Viv, batted with flair, wore a maroon hat like a king, and replaced a legend without ever trying to be one? What if I told you this man, born on the same tiny island as Sir Viv, grew up in his shadow and quietly forged a legacy of his own? Richie Richardson wasn't just another player in the West Indies' golden era. He was a fighter, one of the most stylish batsmen of his generation. Heck, of any generation. He had swagger, elegance, grit, and timing that could make a metronome jealous. This is the story of Richie Richardson, the other Antigua maestro, not Viv 2.0, but Richie 1.0. Richie Richardson's cricketing journey took root at Otto's Comprehensive School, where his raw potential was spotted by coach Guy Earwood. Now Richie, funnily enough, was very defensive to start with. Not a single 100 in school cricket. In fact, bowlers probably thought, easy wicket. But Earwood saw past the low scores. He spotted the technique, the timing, the potential. So, he got to work. He polished Richie's stance, improved his balance, and once the foundation was set, it was time for some fun. Not the usual fun, mind you. Earwood had a unique drill. Get local bowlers to bowl short at Richie non-stop. The mission? Learn to hook. The test? Break tree branches. Yes, that's how you pass batting class in Antigua. You don't write essays. You assault the local flora. And Richie passed with flying colors. By now, Richie had gone from breaking tree branches in Antigua to breaking into professional cricket. The foundation was set, the shots were looking crisp, and the dream was starting to feel real. Fast forward to 1983. The West Indies were touring India, and Richie was added to the squad as a backup opener for Greenwich and Haynes. Now, let's be honest. Being a backup opener in that West Indies team was like being a backup dancer on a Michael Jackson tour. Sure, you're at the rehearsals, but you're not getting on that stage. But cricket has a funny way of throwing surprises. Gus Logie was dropped, and just like that, Richie was told, "You're in." His debut came at the iconic Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai. Now pause for a second and imagine this. You are young, nervous, and on your first international tour. And instead of easing into big leagues, you get hit with a triple whammy. Your name's on the team sheet, your luggage is missing, and your batting practice? Non-existent. Yes, in a team stacked with superstars. Even the bowlers were getting batting practice before him. Richie would be standing there in his pads, waiting and waiting. And by the time his turn came, everyone was already packing up. Fast bowler Andy Roberts noticed and stepped in, making it his personal mission to bowl to Richie whenever he could, just so the kid could at least face a few balls before stepping out in front of thousands. And then came the debut, the big moment, the dream fulfilled, sort of. Let's just say it wasn't a dream. He was wrongly given out LBW for a duck in his first innings, managed 26 in the second. Not exactly the fireworks start. But hey, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was Richie Richardson. It took 3 tests for him to settle at number 3. But on his 4th test, against Australia in Barbados, boom, unbeaten 131. The next test, 154 on his home ground in Antigua. Now, that's how you respond to doubters, with runs, style, and a home crowd going wild. Then came Brisbane 1984, a pitch with bumps, movement, and good old Aussie hostility. Richardson walked out and said, "Yeah, this'll do," and played a majestic 138. You could see it. He didn't just belong, he belonged with flair. With that signature maroon hat, those piercing eyes, and that effortless stroke play, Richie Richardson was now in the building, and everyone noticed. Watching Richie Richardson bat was like watching jazz on motion. Smooth, improvised, stylish. Every shot had rhythm. Every movement had flair. The man didn't just play strokes. He composed symphonies out in the middle. He hit the ball so hard, it felt personal. I mean, you could place 10 fielders on the boundary, build a wall, add a moat, maybe even throw in a few dragons. And still, the ball would somehow find a way to reach the rope. That's how crisp his timing was. Right-handed, fearless, and freakishly good against pace. He took on the fastest bowler in the world as if they were bowling underarm. Lily, Akram, Waqar, Donald, you name them, he faced them. And often, he sent them packing with just a flick, a swivel, or a dismissive stare under that iconic maroon hat. And oh, that hook shot. It wasn't a shot, it was a signature. Fast bowlers would bang it in short, thinking they had him pinned. Next thing you knew, the ball was flying into the stands and the bowler was staring at the sky. And speaking of that maroon hat, oh boy, let's talk about the hat. You see, if cricket history were told using objects, Richie Richardson's maroon sun hat would deserve its own chapter. It wasn't just headgear, it was a statement, a rebellion, a swagger, a come at me bro to every 90 mph bouncer flying at his skull. Maybe it was a bit crazy, he once admitted. And yes, maybe it was, but legends are usually a little bit crazy. To youngsters watching back then, he was a gladiator in a sun hat. To fast bowlers, he was an enigma. How do you intimidate a man who refuses to protect himself and still smacks you to the fence? In 1991, Richie Richardson took on the toughest job in Caribbean cricket, replacing Viv Richards as captain. The fans were split, the pressure was immense, and the team was in transition. Legends like Richards and Marshall were gone. A new era was beginning, and Richie had to lead through the chaos. But despite these hurdles, Richardson led the team in 24 tests, winning 11 and losing 6. But of course, the comparisons with the other Richards were inevitable. Sir Viv, the king. They said, Richie walked like him, batted like him, even stood at the crease like him. Same island, similar name, similar swagger. The media couldn't help themselves. Viv 2.0, they said. But Richie didn't want to be a sequel. He wasn't Viv 2.0, he was Richie 1.0. In fact, here's a stat bomb. Between 1983 and 1991, when both played together, Richie scored 4,647 runs at an average of 47.9, whereas Viv scored 3,988 runs at 44.8. Yeah, let that sink in. For 8 years, while the world was still obsessing over Viv, Richie quietly outperformed him. Now for the numbers, people. At the time of his retirement, he had 5,949 runs from 86 tests at 44.39 with 16 hundreds. He also held 90 catches, especially in the slips. In 224 ODIs, Richardson scored 6,248 runs at 33.41 with 5 hundreds. And here's a stat that will make your eyebrows raise. Against Australia, he scored 9 centuries, second only to Jack Hobbs at the time. That's not a stat, that's a mic drop. But then, in 1996, at just 33, he walked away. No grand farewell, no teary press conference. He just said, I was losing passion. Waking up for cricket felt like a chore. That's the most Caribbean retirement ever. No fuss, just honesty. But here's the thing. He left before the decline. His record was still solid. His reputation intact. No embarrassing late career flops, just goodbye and thanks for the memories. So, how good was Richie Richardson? He was elegant without arrogance, tough without tantrums, stylish without showboating. He walked into Viv Richards' shadow and shone his own light. He faced the world's fastest bowlers without a helmet. He gave us innings of courage, class, and Caribbean fire. And he did it all with a hat. So guys, that's it for today's video. If you wish to look at how good was Ian Bishop or Carl Hooper, click on the videos being displayed on your screen. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Until next time, keep watching this beautiful game. See you soon.